My name's Angela. I am going to be talking to you about first world problems. If you don't know what that means, I'll explain to you. What it means is basically these are the news stories. Probably wouldn't bother you all that much if you lived in Syria. These are the news stories for people who haven't got enough to worry about, basically, is what I'm going to be talking to you about. So the first thing I want to talk to you about tonight is Jeremy Hunt. I was so careful how I said that. Jeremy Hunt has had an idea. I know, who knew? He's had an idea because he thinks that our old people are too lonely, right? And he's right, and he's got an idea to combat that. Unfortunately, his idea to combat loneliness is to give them iPads. Right, now, I don't know who she is. This is generic old lady with an iPad. I thought she looked quite sweet. I've called her Dorothy. I thought she looked quite sweet. Then I thought, I don't know what she's looking at. And I don't know what her other hand's doing. Dirty Dorothy. When I first saw the headline, right, I got quite excited. It just said iPads for old people, right? I thought it was a straight swap. And I mean, really, is an iPad really an old person's priority at the moment? Do you know what I mean? We're in times of fuel crisis, right? Maybe if they pre-installed it with one of those apps with the log burning thing on it, you know, to give the illusion of a bit of warmth, maybe. I don't know. And presumably they're going to post these iPads out to old people, right? And they're going to get them through the door, and not all of them are going to know what they are. I just see these old people having conversations with each other. Did you get one of those iPads? Yeah, I did. Have you tried it? Yeah, I have, yeah. Not as absorbent as the tenor lady, are they? I mean, I'm not saying that all old people are too stupid to use an iPad, right? I'm just saying that for every Silver Surfer, there's going to be 5 old ladies pissing on them. That's all I'm saying. Because I gave my old iPad to my nan to use, right? And she's picked it up pretty well, to give her a due. I helped her get onto Facebook, right? And that's quite fun in itself, right? But it's a bit sad, because Nan's in her 90s, right? So I got her on it. She only had 3 friends. And then 2 friends. Then 1 friend. Then no friends. But Nan was well happy. She thought she'd won Facebook. Her status updates are quite fun. Is that Nan poked Mabel. Mabel didn't respond. Nan phoned ambulance. But I've got my Nan using Skype, right? That was quite fun. And she's quite good at it, right? But I don't like Skyping my Nan because it worries me, right? Because I can't always be sure whether Skype's buffering or she's having a stroke. The next story I want to talk to you about is something that's a recurring theme, I think, in first world problems, and that is the theme of obesity. And the story this week involves doctors and the fact that research has shown that doctors being impolite to obese people makes them more likely to run for the biscuit tin, right? Well, at least they're running. Hey. Just say, let's just move the biscuit tin further away. But GPs have been told, right, that they have to tell their patients that they're overweight in a more positive way, right? Something along the lines of, congratulations, Mrs. Davis, you have the highest blood sugar level that this practice has ever seen. And it's not the doctor's fault, is it, if overweight people can't handle the truth? It's like, doctor, are you calling me fat? So, well, we are having this consultation in Burger King. I have a lot of weight issues. About 3 years ago, I lost about 42 pounds, right? Now, anywhere else in the world, that would have got an instant standing ovation. Oh, well, thank you. I'm getting one, look at that. Thank you very much. That's very unusual. Usually in Britain, you just get, what, fat bird stops putting cake in her mouth for 5 minutes. What, she want a medal? That's what you usually get. My mum was the worst, right? She phoned me up when I was on the diet. She phoned me up to see how it was going, right? And it was just before Christmas, 2010. And she said, how's the diet going? And I said, it's good, thanks, Mum. I bought a new pair of jeans today, size 12. So she went, oh. She said, your Christmas present's an 18. Then rather than say, it's all right, I kept the receipt, she said, oh, you'll grow back into it. Thing is, she was bloody right. But recently, though, right, good news for us comfort eaters. Overeating has now been classified as a new mental disorder. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, yeah? It's called binge eating disorder, right? Which basically, it's like bulimia for people who don't like the sicky bit. That's what it is. It's what people used to call being a greedy pig. And, it's sad because people who binge eat, we're often quite low and depressed, and I'm pretty sure calling us mentally ill isn't going to alleviate that. Right? It's like, yes, you are now fat and mental. Yeah. Here, have a straitjacket. Good luck getting the lid off the Quality Street tin now, fatso. Too kind. How you doing? You all right? So I'm Angela, and I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. Now, if you don't know what first world news is, it's news for people who are probably more worried about fixing up their house in a recession than losing their house in a tsunami. So my first story is a prime example of some first world news, right, that this week we found out that there's going to be a global shortage, ladies and gentlemen, of almonds. That's not it. And goat's cheese. I'll wait for it. And olives. I know, it's worse than the Blitz, this, isn't it? It's like Waitrose are going to have to start issuing ration books. Before we know it, we're going to be queuing for powdered hummus. For fuck's sake. And no almonds. Well, I grew up in Maidstone in the 80s. I didn't know what an almond was until I was 24. Because online, people have been complaining because stocks have run out of Green and Black's organic almond bars. Tell me when we've run out of Kit Kats, then I'll give a fuck. Now, the olive shortage I can live with, right? I am not worried about the olive shortage if it means that we can all just stop pretending now that we like olives. Right? I'm right, aren't I? Nobody does. Nobody. Some of you might say you like olives. You are lying to yourselves. That's what you're doing. Right. A spokesman said that olives have a pleasant, sour taste. A pleasant, sour taste. That's an oxymoron, isn't it? It's like Fun Run. Or Sky News. Olives, they're just one of those things that we have to learn to love because we're grown-ups, right? It's like olives, it's like alcohol or stepchildren. Right? Now, as if that isn't bad enough, right? As if that isn't bad enough, this week I read this, right? That apparently, in 2 years' time, there will be a global shortage of wine. Global shortage of wine. I think I'd be less distressed, right, if I knew that a meteor was going to hit in 2 years. At least then I could drink wine to forget about it. Do you know what I mean? And I can't understand how we've got into this situation. I mean, Keith Floyd's been dead for 4 years, right? I mean, there are certain situations, aren't there, where wine is just irreplaceable. Nothing else will do. You can't take Holy Communion with Vimto. Imagine being in a posh restaurant, right, and the wine waiter comes up to you. I see, madam, you've ordered the steak tartare. May I recommend the Blue Wicked? Right, it's not the same, is it? It's not the... In 2010, right, Spain had an excess of 3.4 billion litres of wine. 3 years later, nothing. Where the fuck has that gone? Is that where the loose women go for their Christmas parties? Is that it? Okay, so I think I've got a solution to this. I think I have a solution to the wine shortage problem, right? We need to do 3 things. First, we need to stop wine tasters spitting it out. Right? That is wasteful. Unless they're going to spit it directly into my mouth. Number 2, we've got to stop people cooking with it. Right? It is a way. Alcohol evaporates when you cook with it, right? What's wrong with a slur? It's like watering your plants with Volvic. It's a waste, right? And finally, we have to stop Lidl selling cheap wine to poor people. Right? They don't need it, they've got cider. Next on the first world news is something that we're a little bit obsessed with in this country. We're a little bit obsessed with all the new beauty fads that come out. Has anyone here had a fish pedicure? Yes! Give me a cheer if you put pictures of it on Facebook. Right, I mean, I can't log on to Facebook without seeing somebody's manky feet being nibbled by fish, right? Next time somebody does it, I swear to God, I'm going to their Facebook wall and I'm going to post a picture of me having a bikini wax. Let's see how they bloody well like it. But just when you thought that things couldn't get any more mental, right, now people are voluntarily having something called eel exfoliation, right? They are voluntarily immersing themselves in baths of these fellas. Yeah. That is not a beauty treatment, that is a bush tucker trial. Right, and they're dangerous as well, right? It's dangerous. Gentlemen in the room, you might want to get a tissue ready for this bit. I mean, because it's going to make your eyes water, it's not arousing. Right? Or it might be, I don't know, whatever floats your boat, but either way, be prepared, right? Because there's a man in China, Zhang Nen, he had this eel exfoliation treatment done, right? And this is what he said. He said, I climbed into the bath and I could feel the eels nibbling my body. But then suddenly I felt a severe pain and realised a small eel had gone into the end of my penis. I don't know about you, my first thought was, how flaky was your cock? Hello, how you doing? You all right? I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. Now, that is the news for people who don't have enough to worry about in their lives, right? It's the news for people less concerned about car bombs in Damascus and more concerned with car parking in Asda's. Right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about today is the marketing profession have come up with a new demographic recently, right? Now, this demographic is known as the PANK. It stands for Professional Auntie No Kids. Right, now, I think I'm one of those because I don't have any children. Right? I'm 37, I don't have any children. I do have a lot of godchildren. Right, in fact, I've got so many godchildren, I'm starting to think I might actually be God. So I've only got one actual nephew, but I've got a lot of kids that call me auntie, right? So I am a professional auntie, no kids. I mean, I say professional auntie, no kids. I'm yet to receive any payment. I don't know about you, right? But something's happened along the way to being 37. Let this be a warning to any younger women in the room. I have stopped getting paid for babysitting. And the worst thing about babysitting as a woman of my age is that when the dad gives me a lift home afterwards, he doesn't even try and fill me up. That's what they actually... I think by professional auntie, no kids, what they mean is that I've got a job, right? So I've got a disposable income that I can use to spend on these children. I suppose what it really is a working auntie, no kids, but they can't really call it that for obvious reasons. And what about the professional uncles, no kids? Why are they not a thing, right? The punks. Where are they? Then I thought about it. I thought, actually, the word uncle, when you're not talking about a blood relation, it has a few connotations, doesn't it? Yeah. It's either a bit creepy or it's the man who's fucking your mum. But there's loads of us panks around now, right? Because the number of childless women in Europe is on the rise, right? In Germany at the moment, they're throwing money at the problem, trying to boost the birth rate. And, because I don't know if I want children, yeah, or not, right? But I have to start thinking about it because I'm getting on a bit, you know. And a friend of mine suggested that I could get my eggs frozen, right, to try and prolong my fertility a little bit. Now, I thought about it, and then I thought, do you know what? When you freeze things, they go a bit shit, don't they? So, do I really want my children to be the human equivalent of a ready meal? I'm not sure that I do. And also, when you freeze things in the freezer, right, they've got a tendency, haven't they, to all sort of clump together. Right? I can't get this image out of my head of some lab technician just whacking a bag of my eggs on the side like frozen peas. Right? And then when that doesn't work, getting a knife in, like between two burgers. What if there's a power cut in that thing, right? That is a lot of pressure on a woman to use all those eggs within 24 hours of being defrosted. And what about when little Findus and Sarah Lee go off to school? And they're getting taught about the birds and the bees? Are they just going to get taken into a separate room and get told Mum went to Iceland? I don't think so. Yeah, it's worrying having children in these times, you know. And then they get older, of course, and they're teenagers with mobile phones. Well, that's a whole different danger, isn't it? That's because there's a rise, right, a huge rise in teenagers sending explicit pictures to each other online and on their phones via mobiles, right? Teenage boys no longer get erections, they get pop-ups. me does think, like, whatever happened to writing someone a nice poem on the back of a fag packet and putting it in their school bag? Do you know what I mean? I think today, if a teenage girl received a poem, that would creep her out more than a picture of a cock. She'd be like, yeah, he sent me this thing. It was like a song, but it wasn't a song. What, and there wasn't a cock in it? No, not even a bollock. It was weird. I think it's only a matter of time as well. It's only a matter of time before the phone companies realise the scope of sexting, right? And they're going to start using it as part of their ad campaigns. Now, I don't know about you, but I, for one, am not looking forward to seeing Kevin Bacon sending pictures of his knob in the middle of Coronation Street. But it does have its upsides, I think, sexting. It does have its upsides. I think we worry too much about it. I mean, you know a guy's a keeper if the picture he sends you has to go across 2 text messages. And the only viruses you're going to pick up from sexting and online Skype sex are computer viruses. And Irish girls won't have to travel all the way to England to delete their history, if you know what I mean. So many teens are having their first sexual experiences, right, online, on Skype or similar things, like in their bedrooms on their own, and I just think, you know what? Being fingered behind a caravan by someone who worked at the fair isn't ideal, right? But at least I was getting fresh air. How you doing? You all right? I'm Angela. I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. If you don't know what the first world news is, it's the news for people that don't have enough to worry about in their lives, right? Or, as they're also known, Daily Mail readers. So the first story that I want to talk to you about today is that Harrods have released their range of Christmas hampers, and the top of the range one will set you back a mere £20,000. Right, yeah, but don't fear, don't worry, Aldi have come to the rescue. Oh yeah. You've got to love Aldi. Aldi have come up with their version for £545, right now. And the papers are saying Aldi, therefore, have saved you £19,500. No, they haven't. I was never going to spend 20 grand on a hamper, right? That money is not now in my bank account. Oh, it's all right, Mum, I got the Aldi one, so now I can go to university. It doesn't work like that. And also, £545 for a hamper from Aldi, right? Surely, if you spend £545 in Aldi, you now own Aldi. That hamper doesn't come in a basket, it comes in a branch of Aldi. Apparently the price of Christmas puddings has gone up by 125% in the last 12 months, right? I had a feeling things were getting a bit tight last year when my mum, instead of putting a coin in the Christmas pudding, put in an IOU. Luckily, Heston Blumenthal and Waitrose have come to the rescue. They've got an alternative Christmas dessert for us. Here it is. It's a strawberry and lychee frozen gatto. Yeah, Heston, nothing says Christmas like a frozen lychee, does it? Look at it, looks like a Viennetta in a sleeping bag. Too much going on. And there's too much going on. It's too busy. It looks like a cross-section of a cliff from a geography textbook. Too many flavours going on in there. Look at all the different colours and that. I'll tell you what, it looks like it's been made at the Great British Bake Off ADHD special. The Oxford English Dictionary has this week announced its 2013 Word of the Year, right? Now, the Word of the Year is supposed to reflect the zeitgeist, what's going on in society, right? American dictionaries have it as well, a Word of the Year. Last year, the US Word of the Year was hashtag, and the year before that, it was Occupy, right, because of all the Occupy protests. Incidentally, Occupy has been the Word of the Year in Israel since 1948. So, the Oxford English Dictionary had a shortlist, right, for this year's Word of the Year. Now, the shortlist, it included bedroom tax, right, fair enough, and twerking, right? Now, twerking makes me feel a bit icky. That going in the Oxford English Dictionary It's a bit like when your mum says, totes some amazeballs. It's not right, is it? But the winner of the Word of the Year for 2013 is Selfie. Right, there we go, that's the winner. Now, when I first heard the word selfie, I don't know about you, but I thought it was a euphemism for masturbation. Right? And I should probably have checked that before I posted one on Facebook. Just give you a second to get that image out of your head. Now, selfies crop up everywhere. They do crop, especially on dating websites, I've found. Now, I don't know about you, I won't engage with anyone on a dating website who has a selfie as a profile picture, right? Because all that says to me is that you are so sad there was nobody in your life who could have taken that picture for you. Not even your support worker. But selfies with friends could be fun. They don't have to be a solo thing. Have a look at these two girls larking about. Oh, aren't they having fun? Look at them, it's brilliant. Just a little word of warning, right? Before posting your selfie, it's probably best to check the background. Yeah, man, I'm being shit. There we go. Brilliant. Amazing. Now, before I go, I've got a special treat for you, because I had a little look on the internet for the best selfie I could find, right? And I went onto Instagram, and this is genuinely what I found, and you're so lucky, right? Because here, ladies and gentlemen, mostly ladies, is our esteemed host, Mr. Paul Chowdhury. Oh, look at that. Ladies in the room dripping like broken fridges. It's amazing. Look at that. Even I'm turned on and I'm racist. It's weird, isn't it? Look at that. I have got to get me one of those. That is... So I think it's a Samsung. Look at it. Yeah. Actually, before I came out here, right, I did catch a member of the crew masturbating over that picture. Yeah, it was Paul. If anyone's interested, he's going to be in the bar having a drink after the show. So yeah, I'm Angela. I'm here to talk to you about the first world news. Now, the first story I want to talk to you about today is it's to do with middle-aged men. Right, I can see one or two of you in the room, so put your ears up. Apparently, testosterone replacement therapy has become really popular among middle-aged men in the UK. Right now, presumably where testosterone is replaced with, I don't know, cocaine, leather trousers and no self-awareness. But obese and unfit men all over the country are pumping themselves with testosterone to try and, as a quick fix, to sort of bulk up their muscles and improve their virility and all that. And I don't know, I just think, what's the obsession with older men clinging onto their libidos? Right, like Dean Gaffney clinging onto celebrity. It's embarrassing. Right, it's just let it go, give us all a rest. Like, the last thing we need in this world is dirty old men who are actually able to act on it. And of course, there is a danger that you can inject too much testosterone, you can go over the top and end up looking ridiculous. Right, who knows, maybe that's what happened here. Men, is that really what you want to look like? Is that like Phil Mitchell had a baby with Gollum and abandoned it in the woods? I'll tell you what, for a man who's banned homosexual propaganda, that looks a lot like a Grindr profile picture to me. I don't know. And apparently more and more men in the UK are having plastic surgery than ever to try and look younger. Right now, I don't know that really works. I don't know if I've ever been convinced by plastic surgery. It's like, yes, you do look like a younger person, but you look like a younger person that's been in a terrible fire. Now, in other first world news this week, David Cameron has announced his plans will come into fruition next year, whereby adult content on the web will be blocked unless you opt in. Right, so give me a cheer if you're going to opt in. Of course, And if you don't opt in, what will happen basically is that if you Google search explicit terms, you won't get links to explicit websites, right? So, for example, I've tested the filters. Now, if you Google wet pussy, get that. If you Google big hard cock, get that. And if you Google massive twat... I thought you'd like that one. Now, apparently, each household in Britain is going to be sent a letter, and on the letter there'll be a form that you have to return, right, if you want access to pornography. That is going to be the fastest returned form that has ever never been seen, is it? Moira Stewart's not going to have to hide in your downstairs cupboard to remind you about that one, is she? And I imagine if you're Catholic, you could always opt in and then just opt out at the last minute. Now, I know it's important, right? I know it's important to protect children, right? I get that. I understand that. But I just can't help but feel sorry for the dads. You know what I mean? Yes, we're protecting our child's childhood, but at the same time, you're ruining that adult's adulthood. I mean, pornography can be damaging for children, sure, but not as damaging as walking in on your dad hunched over a laptop. Now, my dad, I had a very, very liberal, laid-back sort of upbringing. My dad, this is genuinely true, my dad worked in a sex shop, which was fine, that wasn't a problem, until it came to take your daughter to work day. No girl should ever have to do a dildo stock take with her dad. But apparently because of technology now, you know, it's everywhere, it's ubiquitous, the iPads, the iPhones, we're constantly on. Apparently it means we're having less sex than ever because we have iPads. Right now, you know you're in trouble. Right, your sex life has been taken over by technology when the only reason you want his head between your legs is so you've got something to rest your iPad on. You know, it's a problem, isn't it? It's a problem when the only person talking dirty in your bedroom is Siri. But it's taken over our lives, isn't it? Children with iPads and iPhones. Did you know, like, apparently 1 in 3 children can use a mobile or a tablet before they can talk. Right? So babies now no longer content with just ruining your social life and keeping you up all night. Now the little bastards are reading your emails. A third of one-year-olds, right, can unlock their parents' phones. Now, I've got a little goddaughter, right? She can send an email, sync it to a calendar, and she's doing all of this while still shitting in her own pants. It's crazy, and it's confusing for them. I think this technological world is... I gave her a biscuit the other day. She started doing that on it to try and make it bigger. The first story I want to talk to you about today is apparently it's been revealed this week that on long car journeys, parents are much more likely to give their kids iPads to play with than to play I Spy. Well, good, yeah, I Spy's shit, isn't it? If you put a kid in a car now and make them play I Spy, all they're going to spy is kids in other cars who have got iPads. That's just cruel. Do you know what? I was in a car with my godson the other day. I tried playing I Spy with him, right, but he's in the Grand Theft Auto generation. I said I Spy with my little eye, something beginning with H. First guess, hooker. But research does suggest that guessing games are good for children's brains. It's good exercise for the brain. I remember where I grew up, on the estate where I grew up, we used to play a lot of guessing games. My favourite one was Who's Your Real Dad? Yeah, some of them are still playing it, if I'm honest. Now, occupational therapists have said they're worried about kids using iPads and touchscreens and tablets all the time because they're not building up the muscles, right, that they need for writing. Well, fine, right? Writing with a pen's going to be obsolete by the time they're grown-ups, isn't it? Right? It probably also affects their ability to operate a Betamax recorder. It's about as relevant. Now, apparently, if you get a child now, right, and you ask them to ring a doorbell or point at something, they are more likely to use their thumb than their forefinger. Right? That's weird, isn't it? It's just think, like, future generations might not be able to write, but they're going to be brilliant hitchhikers. Now, I got to think about it. I was like, come 15 or so years' time, fingering's going to be a thing of the past. We'd have to come up with a new word for it. Like, I don't know, maybe a thumbs up. I don't know. Now, the thing is, kids today, right, they're not going to know what it's like to be properly bored, are they? Give me a cheer if you were born after 1985. I mean, I'm trying not to hate you, but it's hard. Because you won't know what it's like to be properly bored. I mean, to have nothing to do, right? I mean, Sunday afternoon in the 80s as an only child, bored. Right? Even during the war, they had the constant threat of bombs dropping to keep the adrenaline up, didn't they? Right? In the 80s, on a Sunday, we had fuck all. It's raining, it's 3 hours till dinner, right? You've read every book in the house. I grew up in Maidstone. That was 2 Mills and Boons, a Reader's Digest compendium and an Argos catalogue. You finished your homework and the homework of the thick kid next door. Mum's watching some black and white shit on the telly. Dad's in the shed. Games consoles are still just a twinkle in a Japanese boy's eye. Top 40 countdown doesn't start till 4. Batteries in your Walkman are dying, right? So you carry on listening to Madonna's Like a Prayer, but it sounds like Barry White singing it, right? And you can't replace the batteries, can you? No, because all the shops are shut. And I mean all the shops are shut, even the garage. And that is why, if you are a woman of my age, I refuse to believe you if you say you have never masturbated. Because what the hell else were you doing on a Sunday afternoon? The next story I want to talk to you about, it's a little bit sad, it's quite seasonal, it's a little bit sad, I'm sorry to have to break this to you, but the British pantomime is apparently in decline, right? It's not surprising, is it? It's not surprising that pantos are dying out, right? Because they're not relevant to savvy kids these days, are they? They don't make sense to a child today, right? Take Aladdin, for example, right? Aladdin is set in the Middle East, and it has men dressed up as women and women dressed up as men. In the Middle East. Yeah, where they're famously tolerant of cross-dressing. Hansel and Gretel is about two kids who get lured into the woods by a witch, right? Kids aren't going to believe that shit now unless a 70s TV presenter's involved. Pantos are all about princes and princesses, right? But they're not magical anymore, are they? Right? We've demystified the royals. Being a prince now means spending most of your life talking to vegetables and waiting for your mother to die. Being a princess means having your roots criticised, right? Both your family ones and your grey ones, and everyone in the world thinking your sister's got a better arse than you. But pantos are vital, aren't they? They're vital to our culture, I think. They're part of British culture. I mean, without pantomimes, how are we ever going to know that Christopher Biggins is still alive? And unemployment in this country is high enough, isn't it? It's high enough without adding every Z-list celebrity there's ever been to the numbers. Right? What chance do they stand in the real world? Like, what transferable skills does being in panto give you? Like, where else is it useful to be skilled in pretending you don't know what's going on right behind you? Unless you're going to be a reluctant porn star.